On live, it says we're here. Yay!
Not quite.
There is a delay, even though I tell you about the delay every week.
I know.
So we could just do a super cut of all the times. There's a delay. I would find that amusing.
I'll give you a delay.
I don't think I would like to watch the gradual roundness of my face increase, but I do think that would be a funny supercut. I see Silent Wing, so I'm going to say hello, but I'm going to actually start this thing. I got excited. I forgot all the stuff because I wanted to say hi to Silent. Hello.
Hello, Silent.
Stop. I don't know anything about being silent, so.
No, you don't.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM. Where we help Kingsters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is gonna be a wild one. We are here 8 minutes early for our live stream. If you are here for the live stream and you do not like idle chit chat, fast forward. If you are watching after the live stream, but before I put in timestamps, fast forward by 8 minutes. I think I also have a spiel I usually say about how this is our live stream where we record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. Yeah, it's I already know it's going to be rough. If you're new here, I just want you to know we're usually at least a little bit better than that at the start. By the end, no, all bets are off. But usually we start out stronger than this. Yeah. I'm going to say it again so you get to be the double one this week. Hi, Silent. Hi, Bad Cat. Hi, Mr. Fister. I have questions. I feel like I should remember that reference and my mind has gone blank.
Same. So,
idea's funny. Nope, it's all starting really rough. And we did really well for our Monday video. What has happened?
See, that was our mistake. We did really well there, and now it's all downhill from that.
It is all downhill from there. I am so sorry, y'all. Hi, X.
It's a steep, slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if this is gonna make Silent and X happy or piss you off. We don't have exact anything yet, but it looks like in October our schedule will be changing again. We can't give exact anything because we have to wait for some information to come. There's a thing the 15-year-old is going to be doing, we hope starting in August, and we know it's on Wednesdays, but we just don't know what time.
in August?
Did I say August?
Yes,
God dang it, October. Well, we already know I struggle with time anyway. So, yeah. We can't even say, we're definitely going back to our old time starting in October because we don't know. I'm waiting on the information. Hi, Enchanted Wings. Yeah, Silent caught that too. What would I do if I did not royally screw up in front of a live audience every week? I would probably be somehow less humble. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's what it is, Silent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she may not. I'm ready to let it go.
Oh, okay, Elsa. No, we are Floridians, so the internet is singing about the burr months and the burr months are here, so now it's fall, and I'm like, no, I'm in Florida. The burr months mean jack.
Right?
I'm not gonna get cold until maybe January
if we're lucky.
But you know what? I'll say this. Maybe not October because we have had hot Octobers before, but by November, we might not be cold. We will be sweating less.
Right.
So I am looking forward to sweating less.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to that. What else you got for the butt rub? Yeah, no.
Not a lot.
Has it been a quiet day? feel like I've barely been aware today. I've done things. I've gotten things done. I've been very productive, but like I haven't been present.
I got a lot done today. I have to say that. I was a little shocked with as much as I got done. But I was happy with what I got done.
Yeah, I mean, same.
Yeah.
I was too.
Still haven't cleaned off my desk yet again.
Well, don't worry. Mine's getting messy again.
That didn't take long.
If you ever want to know what the state of my brain is like, just look at my desk. And the messier it gets, the messier the brain. So I got it cleared off for like a whole half day. But it had gotten so bad I couldn't function. So I just had to stop everything and clean the desk. And I did. And it was mostly nice. Now, it's not bad. It's not trashy like it was. It was so bad, y'all. But there are stacks again. And my wallet. But I did have to, I needed my wallet. So I just haven't put it back where it goes. And we are a household that if you do not put things back where they go, you never find them again. Not because they get kicked under somewhere or lost, but because we just our brains don't see them if they're not in the place they go. I never lose my keys because my keys go in the same exact spot every time. I never don't know where my purse is because my purse goes in the exact spot every time. But woe unto us if it doesn't get put back in its spot, because then we'll never find it. Just saying. What else? I don't know. Did she wake up? I was going to say Lola's sleeping, but
she's laying at my feet.
Clearly not.
She came over as soon as I hit record. She came over here. I wasn't
even paying attention to that part. I'm sorry.
I was petting her and having me scratching her chin and doing all that stuff, and now she finally settled down and laying at my feet.
I was too busy falling all over my own words. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It makes me nervous what that means for this week's episode, but it's fine. Well, see, Silent, I can't talk about everything now, so that we will have something to talk about on Friday.
And there will be stuff by Friday. Lots of stuff.
One would hope. Yeah, because we have plans tomorrow. That surely will result in some conversation by Friday. But I don't know what to say for the next minute until it's time to officially start. And I'm uncomfortable with silence while we're on, while we're live. Like, outside of that, happy for silence. But here, to me, there's this expectation. We are here to perform and entertain. Or at least be, what is it that I'm trying to say? What is it I'm trying to say? I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Nope. There was a thing, I was going to say it, and I forgot it. Be a train wreck to watch. That's what I was thinking about. Thankfully, it's 7 o'clock, and maybe I can save myself from myself.
Okay.
We're going to officially get started.
Okay.
So, as you can tell from the title, we're going to talk about some things to sort of be on the lookout for that happen at the beginning and in new power exchange relationships. They also happen in long-term and established relationships for a variety of reasons. But this is our Back to Basics series, so there you go. I do have a YouTube live stream, only applies for Wednesday, September 18th announcement, and that is that the kink bundle that we talked about, well, I didn't get to talk to y'all about it last week, that we've been posting about, and if you follow us on social and if you're on our email newsletter list, you might have heard about. The kink bundle ends tonight, 11:59 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday, September 18th. The kink bundle is 30 plus, I think the number is 36 pieces of resources, content, workbooks, classes, membership, that's all focused on kink education. And it is all available, all 30 plus pieces of that,
and there's
for $99.
And there's a lot of people involved with that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's us, the Sunny Megatron,
Evie Lupine,
Evie, Ra
from Pink Kink
the
Podcast.
Dutchie,
which you used to belong to the Dutch.
Yes.
And I think you either get 1 month or 3 months. It's like membership, like full membership. Maybe it's 1 full month of membership as part of your purchase price. So you can check it out, see if you like it. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's we have a new workbook in there that's not even available on Etsy yet about punishment and rewards. Somebody's got a session on BDSM and ADHD. There's Submissive Guide's got something about service submission. Rara's got a thing on pervertibles. Like, there's just imagine what you might want to know about kink, BDSM, power exchange. It's probably in there. The link is in the description box. So if you want to go check it out, see all the different things you get for your $99, feel free. But today is last day. When it comes out each year, we usually do it once a year. It's only available for like a week, and then it's gone. And then whatever comes out the following year, it's going to be something a little bit different. So yeah, link in the place. Check it out if you're interested and haven't had a chance, but it does end tonight. So this is it if you are interested. Okay. If you enjoy this while we're watching, well, no, not while we're watching, while you're watching, we love a thumbs up. Oh my God. God. And I'm sober. That's the worst part. We love a thumbs up. If somehow I have not scared you away yet and you want more of this later, please consider subscribing. I mean, I have questions about your sanity, but we appreciate you. And if you subscribe,
go ahead and ring that notification bell to get updates and new content.
Just do what Daddy says. And if you really enjoy this and we haven't scared you away and you'd like more of it, plus stuff you can't get anywhere else, like access to our Discord server, you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/KLords. Link is down below. I thought I said hello to everybody who slid in. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Jen. Hi, Jellybean. Do you want to?
Hello, everyone. Glad to have you here with us.
Yay. Okay, now you can hit the button.
I can hit the magic button?
You can hit the magic button.
I can hit the magic button.
Oh, God. Yeah, we are sober. I swear to God, we are. Stone cold sober. And now the podcast audience is like, what the hell's going on over there?
Right. And they know nothing.
Yeah, well. Even if you're strictly a podcast listener, the first like 7 or 8 minutes of any live stream, it's
chaos.
It's something. And I'm having to reassure both everybody and myself that no, really, I'm sober. Okay, so it's just a reminder, since this is part of our Back to Basics series, that if you are either new in Power Exchange or just want to like work on some stuff in your Power Exchange, we do have workbooks on our Etsy shop. 30 Days of DS is for absolute beginners, whether you're brand new to kink or it's a brand new Power Exchange relationship, and you want to like get yourself sorted on what you think about different kink concepts within Power Exchange. Then there's 30 Days of DS Volume 2 that is designed for people with kink experience and more than not than if you are in an established Power Exchange. Like, you can do it if you're single, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is meant to be a how will we in this Power Exchange deal with these issues and think of these concepts. So just a reminder that that is a thing that you can do if you are, you know, listening or watching the this series and like, oh yeah, there's still some stuff I gotta learn. Okay. But as always, and this is especially true in this week's episode, but it's been true in all the episodes of this series, there's a ton of links to blog posts we've written, podcast episodes, videos if you're on YouTube, where you can, without having to pay anything, go figure out, learn what we've said in the past about these subjects on a deeper level. So, what are words? I don't know. It's gonna be a rough one. I apologize now. Second announcement. The day this podcast episode comes out for podcast listeners, but Friday, September 20th, I can't believe I remember those dates. There's a reason I remember them, but I still can't believe I remember them. 9:30 p.m. Eastern is our Friday night live stream, our virtual munch, our BDSM Q&A. It's where we get random and chaotic kind of on purpose. And it's not on purpose like we have to try. It's more like we apologize less for it. And we don't worry about controlling the chaos so much. The chaos is the point. So it's on YouTube. the link will be in the show notes for the podcast episode. It'll, get scheduled for YouTube folks. Hopefully notifications actually work and let you know. I put it in our weekly newsletter. Like, I try to make it so easy to come join us on our Friday night live streams. So 9:30 p.m. Eastern, usually lasts until around midnight. The only time we've never not lasted till midnight was if one of us was not feeling well. So
True.
So knock on wood that is not an issue. Okay. All of that chaotic gunk. Now we can do the topic. So okay. We broke up this discussion, things to watch out for when you're in a new power exchange or new to power exchange, into 4 sections. And I've said it a couple times. I'm going to say it one more time. Caveat, this is not just for new folks. It will and can and will happen in an established power exchange. But typically with an established power exchange, you've been through it at least once before, so it's not usually a surprise. It can be, but not usually. So hopefully this is a good reminder for folks who've been doing this a while. But if you're kind of new and you're still figuring this stuff out, let us be the ones to go, no, if you end up going through this, that's totally normal. You didn't do anything wrong. This is how this goes. As with all of these episodes, we're kind of giving higher overviews because we have talked about all of these topics in great detail over the past previous 411 episodes, the mini-sodes, and our blog. Okay. So for each of these, there are tons of links in the places if you want to do a deeper dive and get more of our thoughts on it. Or if you're like, I don't even know what that concept really means. We've got you. Okay. The 4 we're going to talk about, and are these the only things? Probably not. They're the 4 we're going to talk about today. Frenzy, drop, assumptions, and triggers, which like the actual mental health term triggers, but also the less traumatic version that we call bad tapes. And if you're vaguely new here, you've probably heard us refer to bad tapes multiple times because it's an expression we use all the time. And you're always been like, what the hell is a bad tape? Just so you know, the bad tape episode was episode 101.
Wow.
So it's not in anybody's feed anymore. You can't get it anywhere but our website. So wow. It's worth a conversation. But all the links to all the times and places we've talked about these topics, you can find them if you want to do a deeper dive. So let's start with frenzy. And I purposefully did not just call this sub-frenzy. Because
it can go either way.
Right. And it was less than a year ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer. Somebody emailed in or was chatting with us or something, and they were like, I really think I went into dom frenzy, but I've never actually heard that term. And the moment they were describing what they were going through, and the moment they used the term, I went, of course that's a thing. That we, probably doesn't get clocked, might not get called that, can certainly manifest in multiple ways. So we're not, sub-frenzy is what most people would be used to hearing about and experiencing, but just frenzy, that sort of excitement over getting to do the thing, the kink thing, the power exchange thing. And the excitement hits such a peak that people will make not great decisions. They'll be impulsive. They will not listen to their own instincts. They will, explain away to themselves, why this person is actually a shitty human being in the name of getting to finally do the kink thing. And I think most people with frenzy are probably going to go through it before they negotiate the power exchange. But I absolutely think that you can experience frenzy more than once as a kinkster because there's different things that can get you excited. There's the brand new person's frenzy of, oh my God, I discovered this thing and I get to do it. And
True.
Oh my God, kid in a candy store.
And I would imagine too, in another case of that would be, someone who's on one side of the slash and then maybe decide, they're switch and they're looking at a whole different thing and they're just woohoo!
Exactly. Or you go from being you're a kinkster who's out there exploring your kinks. Maybe you're doing some casual play. Maybe you're just having some experiences. That's one kind of frenzy you might go through. And then you actually get in the power exchange relationship. And that could be another kind of frenzy you experience. Now, I would imagine for many people who might experience multiple frenzies, you probably recognize it faster subsequent times it occurs. and can maybe manage it better, but not necessarily, right? I don't know that I would have liked to have gone through a second frenzy when we went from being long distance to in person. But the day we moved in, we had a stressful thing happen. Our AC died because that's our relationship. From place to place we've ever lived, we're plagued with AC problems. We love living in Florida. It's great. But like a lot of the excitement of what we were going to be doing kind of got sucked out of us with the heat, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we got stressed about our own power exchange. And so we actually didn't get that second wind frenzy of excitement. But I think it'll be more common for people to experience frenzy with a new partner. You've kind of gotten to know one another. You know, you're negotiating this tentatively, and one or both of you is so excited, and maybe you're not making the best decisions that you could be making. Mm-hmm. It's usually a lack of self-preservation more than anything. It's not necessarily that the person is doing toxic things to the other. That's not frenzy. That's just, some toxic, abusive bullshit. Let's not give that a nice little name. Right. That is just bad shit. Yeah. It tends to be a sense of self-preservation. They don't want to use their safe word, not out of disappointment, but because they don't want the scene to be done. They don't want to give up this opportunity. And not using your safe word because of that does not mean you're automatically in frenzy. It is like, it's several things all together, but that can be a sign. They don't want to stop the scene, even though they're like bleeding out on a table somewhere non-consensually, because this is my chance to do this, right? That sense of self-preservation. They overlook, their boundaries being violated. And sometimes it's the toxic stuff of the other person is a walking red flag. That's when we talk about the dangers of sub-frenzy. That's typically what we talk about. But it can also be less terrifying than that, but still just as serious, where they're not standing firm in their own limits and they're agreeing to do things and saying that they agree to do things with a willing partner that they don't actually want to do.
Lola agrees,
as usual. She knows. I'm trying to decide, does she give top energy? I don't know. Anyway, I've anthropomorphized her enough. We don't have to go there.
No.
But, you can sometimes agree to do a thing that... And... This is the Lola show now.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Y'all, she is sitting next to JB, but not looking at him.
No.
Do we want to try to get her... Nobody's touching her, y'all.
She's just laying on the floor where she was sleeping.
Hey. Are we sure she's not part husky? What the hell?
Okay, you're okay.
My whole point is that sometimes a partner will suggest something that's they're not doing it out of an abusive nature or toxic nature because they're a red flag. There's a thing they want, and the other partner in frenzy might be so excited at the thought that they don't just stop and say, actually, I'm not interested in that. So that is a thing that can occur. There we go. We had podcast listeners. Just be grateful we are still old school, y'all, and it's just still audio. Good Lord. What would you, not Lola, have to say about frenzy, and especially at the beginning of a power exchange or a new power exchange?
Yeah. I think frenzy ties in very well with new relationship energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think there is a good, the two of them overlap, and there's a definite correlation.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially if you're you're somebody with you're a Kingster with experience, right? And you're like, I've had my frenzy moment. I lost my damn mind 5 years ago. But that new relationship energy, you might not clock what you're experiencing necessarily as frenzy because it's maybe not as like intense as it was the first time around. But I think that's where things like not just going, hey, I'm glad you like that idea, but I'm not down for it, right? Or not wanting to stop a scene. Again, that's different than not wanting to stop a scene because you don't want to disappoint a partner. That's another thing to that you have to deal with in kink and power exchange. But more so this is our only chance. This is my only time. Those kinds of things. And that's that phenomenon that's not necessarily automatically part of frenzy can happen to you in an established relationship where you know better and you're like, but this is our one damn night to get to do this, right? So the other time, talking about that frenzy can happen even in established relationships, you pointed out you've been in one role and now you're exploring what the other side of the slash means. That absolutely can be a way. If you are in a non-monogamous relationship and you meet a new person that you're, again, going through new relationship energy with, you might experience a bit of frenzy. When we talk about frenzy, we always talk about sub-frenzy, but the idea of dom or top frenzy, do you have any memories from multiple decades ago of having experienced that? Have you experienced something like that with new partners? Like, does that resonate with you at all?
It does. Thinking back on it, yeah, I can see where I had.
What do you remember?
Not very much at this point. But yeah, it was there.
Did you make questionable partner decisions because of it? That's what subs often do. But doms aren't immune to picking the wrong one.
Yeah. I don't think so. For me, it was more like I wanted to be involved in everything.
Okay. You were going to everything, doing everything, taking every class.
If it was going, I was there.
So you had FOMO too, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Frenzy can present in so many ways. I personally think that the overarching definition is overzealousness and making decisions that are not always in your best interest. I'm pretty sure there were times you spent money or lost sleep when what you really needed to do was take your ass to the house, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I think the time to truly be worried about frenzy is if you are not paying attention to others' red flags, or if you are pushing up against other people's boundaries and limits in your excitement, right? Like if you're just, you can be as excited as you want to be, and please be excited. This is meant to be fun. But it's when you start like stepping on other people's toes about it, that's when we're in, I feel so old. I'm trying to remember if I had frenzy with you, like true frenzy, because I definitely had sub frenzy with the previous partner. Yeah. And then when you and I met, I was still like broken heart, mourning the loss of something that really never was. Yeah. And so we went really, really super slow. So I don't feel like I ever had. I think the closest we came was the first time we were physically in each other's presence.
Yes.
And I think we both experienced a type of frenzy because, before you walked in the door, we were in a scene. You just didn't know it yet. I was surprising you.
That's true.
But we immediately said hi, kind of went, oh yeah, you're you. And then went right into a scene. And you went real hard, real fast.
I did. I got...
Whoo, yeah. You were exuberant.
It was all that road time.
And I safe worded. But I don't want to classify the excitement that people in long distance relationships get to feel when they're finally together as frenzy, because I don't think that's fair to anybody. Because every visit we had up until we were starting to plan the move, really, as long as we were kid free, was just wall to wall fuckery. Like that's just what we did. But that first time was super intense because we'd had all that build up, and there was all of that uncertainty that was this real? Were we really compatible? And then we certainly were. And then we were super excited. Yeah. I think the thing that would delineate it in my mind from what I consider frenzy is that we did play safely and we did care about each other's boundaries and we used our safe words.
And that's a big thing. You can be in frenzy, but as long as each other respects their boundaries, and you can get through it.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Because we're going to, in some future week, do an episode on an expression another kinkster used that I have fallen in love with: old relationship energy, because that's a thing. But to watch out for it as part of a new power exchange is not to not want each other to be excited and to be bouncing off the walls with the kink energy. Like, that's not it. It's to watch out for yourself and your partner making decisions that are against their best interests or your best interests. It's the boundary, overstepping. It's the not using a safe word when they really ought to use a safe word. It's, saying yes to things that they don't really, you don't really want. Those are the things to watch out for, because those things can unintentionally lead to long-term harm, whether that's a thing we'll talk about later, a bad tape, or it's actual physical harm. So you do need to be aware that I don't care if y'all have been together 6 months, a year, that moving in part could create frenzy. Doing a new kink thing could create a sense of frenzy.
Sure.
So it really is just, watching out for whether you're playing safely within all of that. And now she's at the door like she wants to go into another room.
Okay, let me see if she does want
that. Yeah, you do that. And because folks have been commenting in live chat, and I'm sure podcast listeners might be interested too. She actually was wide awake when she started all that crying. She just decided something. She wasn't getting enough attention. She wasn't where she wanted to be. Her face was calm. She was laying in like her Sphinx pose, calmly looking forward, not looking at JB, and just crying. But calmly. Like, her voice was not calm, but her body language was super calm. I don't know what all of that was. That is the way Lola cries when she does not think we're paying enough attention. That's the cry we get if she is outside and wants to come in and you did not open the door before she knew she wanted to come in. You know what I'm saying?
She's been doing that a lot lately, because her and we have been walking fairly steadily. And last night we did not walk because my back was bothering me. And tonight, obviously, I'm here with y'all. And
and tomorrow she won't get one either.
No.
Ooh, Lord.
Boy. So yeah, and the thing is, if I don't WALK her, she gets upset, and she does that. And she does that to get attention. If she's not going to be walked, she's going to get attention, and then
you're going to know that she's dissatisfied with your service. Okay, so do you have anything else you would like to add to frenzy? Okay, that's a good segue. Then we're going to go into drop. Sub drop, dom drop. I did not realize how much we've talked about drop over the years, and actually we spent more time on dom drop than sub drop,
because most people talk about
sub
drop,
right.
and not the fact that it does happen to doms. I remember the first time it happened to me. Oh my God, it was horrid.
Because you didn't know what it was?
Didn't know what it was. I almost felt the best way to describe it was almost flu-like.
Yes, my first experience with drop, I felt like I was getting the flu.
It was absolutely horrible, and had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, you think you're going crazy. You think, like, am I dying? Do I need to make a doctor's appointment? So for anybody who's like, what the fuck is drop? Drop is the low from the high of having to gotten a kink scene. People get it after going to kinky conventions. We would get it after every visit when he would come, or I would go to him. We'd get a weekend, a week, whatever together. We'd live our best power exchange kinky fuckery lives for a few days. Then we'd have to go back to being long distance again, and there would be a drop. It's most commonly talked about after a scene, and it's most commonly talked about as the opposite of subspace or top space, dom space. But it's, you get that high or that floaty feeling, or for you it's like really focused feeling, like however your space feels.
Yep.
And what goes up must come down. And so the down is drop. My experience has been, especially since I don't go into subspace very often anymore, it's been a hot minute since I've really been in subspace. But
we haven't played that intensely either.
True, but even when we were, it was one of those things we were fitting in our play in between other things, and so whatever. But we've experienced it after we've gotten like really intense moments that weren't a scene, or I wasn't in subspace, but we just had a really good time being kinky together, whether that was actual kink scenes or it was just really swimming in our power exchange for a day or two, going to kinky conventions where you can just be a kinkster for some amount of time, and that's the life you get to live, and the rest of your life kind of falls away. I don't care how long you've been together. I don't care how much kink you did together before you got into a power exchange, or drop can still happen. I think it is probably less frequent as a relationship goes on, but not necessarily. I mean, everybody's different, so your brain chemistry is different. You're going to react differently to all this. The thing that wouldn't send me into subspace and then have me drop could be the thing that absolutely does for you, even though you've been doing this for 20 years, right? Like that's a very individualistic thing, which is why you still need to watch out for it. You've negotiated your power exchange. Maybe you're living together. Hell, maybe you're fucking married and you're raising kids or taking care of parents and got 30 jobs and no days off, and you can still go into fucking drop. It doesn't necessarily go away just because you become an old boring couple like us. And that's why it's something to be thinking about and to just be aware of. I wouldn't worry about it unless your drop is debilitating. If your drop is debilitating and you literally are not going to function for a few days, you're going to have to be more mindful than those of us who just, need some extra sleep and get a little cranky. I have this bad tendency when my mental health tanks, I either get super quiet and have not a fucking thing to say to anybody, or if you're going to make me talk to somebody, I'm going to be pissy about it. And, you're not living your best submissive life if you're snapping at your daddy dom because you're over/understimulated. I mean, So, when was the last time you remember experiencing drop?
I
mean, we've been together long enough. I'm sure it's happened since we've been together. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a while. It has been a while. I would say probably prior to when we moved here to Ocala.
We had so much more fuckery in our lives before we moved here.
Yeah.
We have, and I don't regret moving here.
No, not at all.
There are many good things in our life that have occurred because
we are where we are.
But it's a give and take, and we gave up so much fuckery.
We did.
We just didn't know it at the time that we were giving up.
It was a comedy of errors after that, because the rental house, the boys were right across the hall from us.
I know.
We
were getting a bit of fuckery once we moved here, but we had lived here a very short amount of time when our bottom fell out and life got chaotic.
Yeah.
And we're still in recovery from that. So it's just funny to me. It's just funny to me. Like, I can say this because I'm not in it right now. I'm probably would feel differently if I was in the middle of drop, but there is a part of me that's like, could we have something intense enough that I please get to experience drop again? I would not be mad.
Yeah, well, same, yeah.
Because it's a little bit frustrating, because most of the time if you're going through drop, it's because you had a good damn time a few days before. So it's like a give and take thing. Just real quick, for anybody who has not listened to the 85 million times we've talked about drop, everybody does experience it differently.
Yes.
I have had 3 types of experiences. One was flu-like symptoms. I literally thought I was getting sick. I almost went to urgent care. I've had the mental health, I'm fuzzy, my mood is low. It's feels a bit like depression. Yeah. Maybe it would be classified as that. I don't know. And then my third is a combo of those where my body is miserable and my head is not in a good place.
Well, I mean, you think about it, when you do a scene, it releases all those feel-good chemicals into your body. You got adrenaline, you got dopamine and endorphins and all this stuff raging through the body, and you're like, yeah, bring it. And when all that goes away, because that's all been shoring you up, and
right, yeah. I mean, So if you thought, oh, we got past new relationship energy, oh, we've kind of settled into our power exchange that we just negotiated. Drop's not a thing I got to worry about. It can still happen. I think it depends on a million factors, but I know from our experience, and then I've had conversations with other people who've had similar experiences, so I know it's not just us. The comfort of knowing now that the day after a scene, 2 days after a scene, whatever might send me into drop, that my person is right there decreases the drop for me. Like, I might still feel a little low. I surely might still have body aches because, I mean, when we get to play, it does tend to be very intense physically. But it's not as bad as when we were long distance. And we also had to contend with the drop of we are not physically together anymore. When you do get to be together in your drop, you get to lean on one another. You get to process together. You get to, you're not alone. You're not going, am I crazy? Like, you get to be crazy together, And it's a different experience.
One of the things, having that, if you're somebody that does pickup play, you may need to include that in your negotiations. If I start to drop, can I call you? Can we talk or text?
Let's just check in with each other a day or two after, because some people don't experience it immediate day after. It can be a day or two after their scene or their moment or whatever. So there's that.
If the person is unable to provide any kind of aftercare like that, then what friends do you have in the community? That you can call them and talk to them, or go hang out with some friends and. To kind of alleviate it.
Which it's, we get back to you're in a new power exchange. Ideally, you have one another. But if your power exchange is long distance or you just don't live together, then you'll have to find other ways to work around that. But having somebody that you can just talk to and be with and whatever you are comfortable with and want in that moment. Like, some people want to be the fuck by themselves. They just want to curl up in their bed and rot. And fair. That's fine. But... yeah. The other thing, and we did a whole episode on this too, we have never figured out a way to prevent drop. I've never heard of anybody with a credible way to prevent drop. I don't think you can prevent it. I think you can mitigate it. I think you can be aware of it, and so it's less disturbing to you when it happens because you at least know what the hell's happening to you. You can have your support system. You can hopefully have your partner. But I don't, I think it can decrease over time. We do a lot less intense things, so therefore I don't have opportunities to go into drop, so therefore I don't go into drop very often. There's that too. Anything else you want to say about drop?
I think we're good there.
Number 3.
We can drop the subject.
You're so funny. Number 3. You're going to have to look out for assumptions being made.
Yep.
And that is so nuanced and can mean so many different things. We did, I don't think I linked it. I'll have to add it. As a submissive, I like to do when I can, something called anticipatory submission, where I am anticipating JB's needs and trying to fill them. Now, 95% of the time, I get that right. But man, that 5% where I get it wrong.
Ooh, doggy.
Right. That's the time you can make assumptions about what your partner wants, about what they need, and be very, very wrong.
Yeah. Now, another thing that I want to add about this, a number of years ago, I came across a thing, and it was actually for a rope scene. And the person who was doing this, and this was the first time I had ever seen anyone do this, in the negotiations, they actually asked the person, the top, asked the rope bottom, what are your expectations of this scene? You know, and at the very first I thought, that's an odd question. But after I had kind of time to process it and think about it, I was like, no, that's actually pretty good, because each person could be coming in with different expectations, different assumptions.
Right, about what the other person wants.
About what the other person wants.
Based on what they want. Right.
You know, and so yeah, it actually helps, you know, alleviate that.
Yeah, there's going to be assumptions that are going to be made on, well, we negotiated that 6 months ago. They probably still want that. If I'll say this, if it's something you do on a day-to-day basis, you're that's a thing you're interacting with one another on a consistent basis, maybe not daily, but consistently, until your partner tells you otherwise, or you get a signal of some sort, you can assume it's still the same, right? But if you negotiated it 6 months, a year ago, 3 months ago, and it's never been mentioned again, do not assume it's still on the table. Do not assume that's what you still want. A check-in is the easiest thing you can literally do. Hey, are we still good with?
Yeah.
Hey, how do you feel about?
Because, you know, that's another thing. Yeah, that's a very good point you brought up, because consent is not one and done.
Right.
You know, it is ongoing. It's a fluid thing. So yeah, that you start assuming stuff when it comes to consent.
Right.
Ooh, not good.
And the biggest mistake I tend to see people make is, well, we negotiate. This is in our contract. Well, how long ago did y'all talk about that contract? When was the last time you actually looked at that contract and talked about it with one another? You having a conversation in your head about what you think your partner would say is not the same as direct and clear communication. One assumption that will get a lot of people who both in vanilla relationships that transition to power exchange and folks who are like shiny new and everything has been vanilla and don't have the communication skills yet, you'll get there, they should just know. That's an assumption. You are assuming that because your mind waves went out into the ether in a certain formation that your partner, I mean, what? And I say this as a person who spent every vanilla relationship I've ever had with some version of the thought, well, he should just know. My communication skills were piss poor, okay? And very early days of DS and prior. There is no, they should just know. Are there things that you would hope that after 5, 10, 15, 20 months or years together that your partner could infer? Yes. And can you reasonably expect, if they are confused, that they should check in? Yes, I think that's a reasonable expectation. I also think you have to set that expectation. You have to have the conversation of, hey, when in doubt, ask, right? You shouldn't have to. One would think we're all adults here. Sometimes people need it, like, said straightforward to them. But we can't be walking around going, well, they should just know. They should just know. How is JB supposed to just know that I've got a migraine and so therefore cannot fulfill my tasks as his submissive? Now, let me tell you, as a probably spoiled rotten, but not in the way, like with material things, spoiled rotten only child, I absolutely have a bit of main character energy at times with JB. We can have a conversation about my main character energy in the podcast. That's a different conversation. So I do sometimes walk around going, well, clearly the expression on my face, the body language, and the deep sighs should make it clear that something is wrong. And yeah, if JB's like not in his own head about something, he might go, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I appreciate it when he asks. It's nice to be seen, right? And I like to make sure I am seen often. Thank you very much. So I walk around with lots of sighs. But I am a grown-ass woman, and it is my adult responsibility, especially like in our power exchange where I have agreed to do things, to go, hey, I feel like absolute dog shit right now. I know you haven't noticed because you too feel like absolute dog shit. But I need you to notice for like 30 seconds, hey, I don't think I can do that thing that, I always do, right? Like, there's no, we're not going to make those assumptions.
I'm gonna give y'all a little insight here.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. She's talking about her size and knowing, should know something. Kayla and I have desks within a few feet of each other.
Okay? Very close.
Very close. Now, I actually do sit with my back to her the way my desk is set. But throughout the course of any given time, sitting at my desk, when she's at her computer, I will hear...
Sometimes I'm just breathing, by the way.
And if I asked every time she sighed, that could be my job.
I really do.
That could be
just
my job.
Walk around sighing.
She for her, the sigh is a natural thing.
Yeah. Apparently it can be a stem, and there's something else it can be.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget to breathe and I hold my breath, and so then I have to sigh to catch back up.
So,
I'm sure that's something else to talk to with a therapist.
There's no way I could know.
But that, and the thing is go ahead.
And in the beginning, I did use to.
You did, and it got so annoying. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just over here breathing.
So I got to the point where now, anytime she sighs, I just take it as her sighing, and that's.
I really do be sighing a lot. It's real bad. I don't even notice it half the time, or I'm just taking a deep breath, and it comes out because I'm holding my breath accidentally, and it comes out as a sigh. But the thing is, I think it's okay to want your partner to be paying enough attention to you to ask the questions of, are you okay? Is everything okay? You seem a little... that's fair. I want that, and I get that. I can confidently say nobody's making assumptions, because I also don't have to worry about having a partner that is paying so little attention to me, or has made no effort to learn my cues and signals that, he asks. So I also know that I'm free to tell him. And I also know that when there are times when I'm struggling to say something, it might take him a minute, but he will notice something's off and ask. It's not an either or, it's a both and, right? Mm-hmm. If you are still carrying that bad communication habit of they should just know because something to you feels like common knowledge is not always common. It really is not. There's no common sense either, because everybody has their own life experience, their own wiring, their own way of moving through the world. So sometimes we have to teach people how to treat us.
I mean, oh Jesus, now. The whole thing of you should know on either side, it's unrealistic. It's actually toxic.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a lot of ways.
Yes.
The way that
long term and over time. Yes.
I mean, yes. Can I tell after we've been together, how many years? Yes, I pretty much know the difference between her sitting at her desk size,
my breathing,
and some other size. Yes. Am I 100% right every time? No, but I.
But we also have that freedom because he knows if it's bad enough, I am better now than I was early days. I'll say something. I'm gonna say, my head is killing me. I'm gonna say, I feel like shit today. I'm gonna say those things because I don't have the expectation that me walking around looking miserable means he's gonna pick up on the signal that I'm miserable and should be let out of my tasks for the night. Quite frankly, I'm the type who's like, I could still do it as, my eyesight is blurry and I'm stumbling around and I'm clutching my head. No, I'm fine. My arm fell off in the kitchen there and I'm dragging my corpse-like body behind me. I can do it. Like, I'm more that type.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you had, you gave it to me now.
I know it's a bad one. I'm so sorry, y'all.
You know, in our lifestyle, making assumptions and not explaining how what's really going on, it's bad. It could even be dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's
how people get hurt.
Yeah. So, never ever assume or think the other person knows. You need to have a talk. You need to talk.
Right.
You need to tell the other person.
Use your grown-up words.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this many times, and I always like to reiterate this. It's not always verbalizing, vocally saying the words. Sometimes it's too difficult. It's a text. It's a voice message because you can say it as long as you're not looking at them. Sometimes it's an email. Sometimes it's just a sticky note on the refrigerator. Whatever you gotta fucking do to get the information out of your brain and into their brain so that they know what's going on with you, you find a way to do it. And if you've got a partner who does not give two fucks about knowing what's going on with you, that is information you need to take within and do some deep thinking about, because that's very telling, especially when we're talking about negotiated power exchange relationships where you're trying to have this dynamic. And that doesn't mean that it's romantic or sexual or you're about to get married and spend 50 years together, but that negotiated power exchange where you're two people who are depending on one another for your roles in some way. Each side of the slash should give a fuck what's going on with the other one, especially if it's going to interfere with your relationship, your power exchange, your day-to-day life, however you're set up, whatever you're doing. Doms, you should not be making assumptions either. They should just know, I want this done. The fuck? Did you use your big kid words and say the shit? Come on now. I almost said big boy, and I was like, no, that's an assumption. No, I mean...
Yeah.
All doms of all genders can be shitty at communication.
We're not...
You're not perfect, I know.
We're not perfect, and none of us are born with the, ability to communicate.
It's a skill.
It's
a skill.
It's a skill. It's a muscle that you need to exercise.
Based on how you were raised, the life experiences you have, the things we'll talk about in the next section coming up, the bad tapes, the triggers, that can make it more difficult to do. That can mean it takes you more effort to do it. It takes you longer to learn the skills and to unlearn the shit you went through and to work through all of that. But that does not mean you get to abdicate the responsibility of working on your shit, right? Like, people did shit to you and they suck. You're living in the here and now with this other person, and you are responsible for how you handle yourself. And it's going to be rough until it's not. It's going to kind of suck and be stressful and scary and hard until it's not. And until that length of time is dependent on things that almost nobody can control, because it's the type of partner you have. It's the skills they have. Once I felt safe, JB learned that I will really tell you everything.
And then some.
Right. But by me strengthening communication skills that I'd had it kind of like pushed out of me, and I never felt safe using them. Once I felt safe, I got strong enough to pull it out of him. I'll be the first one to stand toe to toe with him and call him on his bullshit. I know something's going on with you and it's impacting us. So you don't get to just sit over there by yourself with it anymore. When it's not impacting us and you need to process and, that's different. But it's now affecting the us over here. We're going to talk about it. I can do that because we trust one another. I've worked on my communication skills and I have dragged this man along. He was really, from the beginning, he was really good at communicating power exchange and consent and checking in with me and keeping us as safe as possible. But when it comes to his own feelings, we're still working on that.
Yeah.
And we've been together how long? So it's going to take the amount of time it takes, but you don't get to just throw your hands up and go, not my responsibility.
Look how many years I have to unlearn.
True, exactly.
Yeah. Which
leads, if you don't have anything else you want to talk about with assumptions, right into our final topic, which is The biggest, baddest.
Yeah.
It's usually the toughest. It is the thing that will fuck up your assumptions. It might fuck up your frenzy. It can fuck up your
anything.
It'll fuck up everything.
Lots of stuff.
It'll fuck up a scene. We've been there too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's triggers in the psychological sense of triggers.
Yes.
And then there's what we call bad tapes. So triggers are the things that when they occur, they bring you back, usually like a PTSD kind of thing. They bring you back to a moment in time where you were traumatized, and it's like you're in that moment again. I get that with loud voices and yelling. It's yelling and anger specifically, but on a bad day, just a loud voice will be enough. And I'm like, I'm not functioning well. Bad tapes is an expression that JB taught me. So please, JB, explain what a bad tape is. We do have an episode on it.
Yeah, God, it's been a while. A bad tape is something that you have learned that then becomes hard-coded in your memory, your core of who you are, and then unfortunately turns out to not be a good thing that can cause you problems later on. All right. I had pretty big share of bad tapes when came into
Lord,
our
I've been
relationship.
trying to be kind of rewind on those bad tapes since day one.
Yeah. You know, the bad tapes are one thing, you know, they're the thing with the bad tapes is they can be erased and overwritten.
It takes a while, though.
Takes a while.
The bad
Takes
tapes
a while.
that you experience that you and I have, we still sometimes are working through it. One was financial. He had gone through some stuff in a previous relationship, and when it felt like this felt similar to what he'd gone through, he would react as if he was, it's a little bit like a trigger in that sense. You're like, oh, I'm back here again. I know what you're going to do because I know what they did. And I had to go.
And it was because in that past relationship, when had financial problem, partner came and said, well, you know, it's all on you. You figure it out.
Can I tell you that? Now that's been fascinating. So we don't like that person for many reasons, and that's one of them. But the strangeness of, we were going through, I think it was the first financial bullshit we went through, and I was like, okay, so what are we gonna do about it? And he went, we? I'm like, yeah, partnership, team, married, like. What the fuck? Yeah, what are we going to do about this? We need to sit down and figure this out. And it's heartbreaking when a person you love and adore says, literally said thank you to me for doing what is the basics of like decent relationshiping, right? Like, I'm his fucking partner. I like to eat too. As anybody with eyes can tell. I will help you fix this. We will figure this out together. Now, one of the things you always call bad tapes, we're not going to go into details because that's his personal business, I think is a trigger. So, same relationship, parenting stepchildren, shit went down. We're not talking about it. The moment the oldest, the now 19-year-old child in college living on his own as a fully functioning, mostly healthy young adult, when that child hit his teens, I know why some animals eat their young. This loving, kind, decent man was, and I do mean I think you were triggered. And we had to all go through that together, where I don't like being the mediator between them, but I was.
If it's what you, the time I'm thinking about.
There were many times.
Well, there one in particular, but yeah.
But what we, again, did together for him to work through that was he had to unlearn some stuff. He had to see that I was not like a previous partner. He had to experience what it meant to deal with that child who was not these other people from his past. And that is a process that you can't skip over, go around, go under, go. You're going through it. And it was hard for everybody.
Yeah.
The thing that has been really gratifying is that you made it through that. You're a better parent for it. You have a good relationship with the oldest. And this is my favorite part. when you can learn new things and actually like have it stick.
Yeah.
It's made you a better parent for the youngest.
Yeah.
So, you know, those, and the thing is with bad tapes and triggers, they're not going to be power exchange specific necessarily. No. They can be. There is abuse and there are traumas that occur in power exchange that if you choose to do power exchange again, you're going to carry with you, and that's going to have to be worked through in some way. But it's just the stuff of living. Like it's, and you're going to have to deal with it, and it's going to get in the way sometimes of power exchange. When he so and I do not use the term lightly. Yelling in anger is a trigger. Not every time, but man, when it is, it's bad. So it was an absolute delight to realize that Italian families, stereotypically and in the most cliche sense, yell at one another and call it love. The first time I walked into...
Just speak loud.
No, it's aggressive, okay? As a person who hates conflict and confrontation, who is very upset by loud, angry voices, that is aggressive. I don't always know the difference between aggressive and anger, so that was my bad. It was very stressful to go to that part of your family and just be there.
You experienced that,
And that was not anybody's problem. That was my own problem. I have to handle it myself. I got to deal with it. I got to figure my way out through it. But the first time... we were living together, but it had to have been fairly early days because we've fought like regular people fight. Rarely, but we've had bad ones.
Yeah.
The first, I don't remember what it was about. The first real bad fight we ever had, you yelled. You would have probably told me you were speaking Italian in a loving way.
Italianese.
But I know what being yelled at feels like. And I... lost my shit.
It did not go over well.
Everybody handles their own thing in their own way. And there are times when I get upset, whether it's a bad tape or an actual, psychologically speaking, trigger. I shut down. Just complete shutdown. Sometimes I meltdown. And I probably forgot my own name, but I certainly forgot I was a submissive. And that was screaming. That was unhinged. If you walked into it with no context and didn't know what I was going through, and JB did not know what I was going through, I was screaming. And was I proud of it? No. Did I have to apologize for it later? Yes. But did we also, once we got through that moment and the apologies were made and we were back on an even keel, we had worked through that moment, did we have to sit down and for me to go, oh yeah, I thought that I was over this. I thought we would never fight like this. I didn't imagine that you would do a thing that could trigger me because new relationship energy will lie to you.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you are the type of people who don't really argue much, or you certainly don't get into air quote fights with a partner, you might not notice certain things right away because they're just not happening, right? I've created a life for myself that I tend to keep it low key, low conflict, low confrontation. I just like it that way. So I'm not going to have a partner who's picking fights all day long because no thank you. Okay, that is not the exposure therapy I'm going through. So for us to finally, after all this time, we'd had disagreements, we'd had tiffs, but to have like a yelling match where he was so pissed he was actually yelling, and I had that moment, that was a big deal, but it wasn't something I could prepare for. And I didn't understand until that moment because of the things I'd been learning about and, information I'd been taking in, what was even happening. But the moment it happened with him, and then I understood what I was going through. I realized I could think back to all the times that had happened in the past because it's so out of character the way I act when that happens to me. The shutdown's not strange to anybody else. Oh, yeah. BG just got real fucking quiet and is not looking at anybody and has gone into a dark room by herself. Okay.
Houston, we have a problem.
But okay. BG is screaming like a maniac, like frothing at mouth screaming. Something is wrong. And that's really rare for me.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that now...
I think in all the years we've been together, 20 twice, maybe three times.
And they were like the worst fights we'd ever had, where we were at our mutually worst.
Not our best at all.
Some bad tapes triggers you will know you have because you've had the experience. Some will creep up on you. Some, especially in a bad tape kind of situation, I can't speak to triggers because I'm not like medically qualified, but I know in bad tapes, there'll be things you'll tell yourself, well, I'm over that. I know JB's not like that motherfucker over there. And then you'll find yourself in a situation and you'll be like, I remember what this feels like. I know what, and you go back to making assumptions. I know what's going to happen next. You don't, though.
No,
it's
you
a
don't.
different person. And hopefully it's a better person. It's power exchange when probably the last time was fucking vanilla anyway. And you don't know what's going to happen, but your body and your brain sort of take over and you react and respond like you do. And now it's all going to shit.
And I'm just going to add one little quick thing to all this with the triggers and the bad tapes. The triggers and bad tapes, absolutely. But there's, I think there's one thing that should be added to that little caveat.
Okay.
Landmines.
Yes.
Okay.
Which are a little bit like bad tapes and triggers.
They're like bad tapes and triggers, but here's what the thing is. You know, sometimes you know what your triggers are. All right. Many people know what their triggers are, and that's why they ask for things like trigger warning. You've gone through some shit. We had a situation one time where I hit a trigger that neither of us knew about.
No. Yeah.
Okay. And that's how I kind of termed it landmine.
Yeah. That's a little bit what it feels like.
Because in the middle of the scene, stepped on it and poof, everything blew up.
And it was surprising for everyone. And it's, yeah, you don't even know how to respond because you didn't know that was a thing you were going to have to respond to.
So, you know, the triggers, bad tapes, landmines. There could very well be hidden triggers somewhere. And you know, that's something to be aware of.
Yeah. And, you know, you can't prevent all of those things.
No.
You know, you can be a little bit like me and sort of set your life up in a way that you prevent most of them, but you can't prevent all of them.
Yeah.
So you have to do something about them. So as the person who they're happening to, if it's available to you and it's the right choice for you, working with a professional to do what you can to get the, you know, some level of help to I don't want to say deal with it. I don't even want to say work through it. I don't know what the right expression is, but to not go through that part alone and have somebody who's a professional work with you on it.
Yeah.
That if that is an option for you, please take it. Like
Absolutely.
The best 2 years of my mental health was when I was in therapy, and I got a greater understanding of myself, and that was wonderful. Other than that, though, you are in this relationship. This is a power exchange, and depending on how your power exchange is set up, there could be very strict elements to it that you each want to follow kind of to the letter, and there's a way that you each expect the other to behave. And when bad tapes and triggers and landmines happen, it will often, maybe always, but definitely often throw you completely out of your dynamic, whether it's for 30 seconds or if it's longer. So there's an aftermath, right? There's after the screaming, there's after the argument, there's after the whatever. The amount of times I will not say the person's name, but his had a bad tape, and I've looked at him and gone, my name is not fill in the blank with that person. Yeah. To kind of bring him out of it, like, whoa, you're dealing with me, not that one, right? There's the moment, and then there's when everything's calmed down, right? Yeah. It's the when things calm down enough that you do need to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
What happened? Is there can I help? Is there anything I can do for you?
Right.
Do we need to renegotiate some element of what we're doing to avoid this? Yeah. You know, do you need me to call somebody for you? Like you got to have a conversation.
Right. And you know, that's what we did. Knew at the moment when it happened that was not the time to have the conversation.
Nope.
I went immediately into aftercare mode.
Yeah. Which was usually a time when I'm like, leave me alone. Actually, if I recall, both the times that I can remember that I was, by the definition of the word, triggered, I was so shocked that I reacted that way because it is so out of character. It's just not
true.
That I think I shocked myself back into not being triggered. I was still like heart racing, like sighing in, you know, the ways that you would sigh, not just trying to breathe. But like I didn't know what the fuck to do. But I also was no longer angry. Like the moment we both hit that peak and it exploded, I was like,
whoop.
What the fuck were we just arguing about? Yeah. Because it can't possibly be that important.
All that shit's out the door right now.
Yeah. Which is a weird feeling if you've never experienced it. Yeah, and you do you go into daddy dom mode real quick when I'm the one freaking out. You do go into I am a strong, independent woman, leave me alone mode when it happens to you, and I'm like, how can I help you, daddy? Which, look, sometimes I am a submissive, and I love being submissive to the right person, not for every fucking body. But sometimes there are moments when it sucks. And it sucks when you know that what your dominant partner probably would benefit from is comfort, is help, is something that you as their partner can give them. Now, every partner, regardless of flavor, has the right to say, please leave me alone, I don't want your help. We all do. That's a consent thing. But doms get to be firm in the, I'm fine, baby girl. Well, no, the fuck you're not. But I respect consent. Just let me know when you need me. And then I'll just glare at them until I come here. I'll give you a little inside tip, submissives. When they're upset and you want to help and they are not in a place where they want you to help, and you are respecting consent. Sometimes, not always, it depends on the person, but with JB it works. Daddy, I need a hug after that. And then you get to provide comfort consensually. And I do need a hug, because I want to fucking comfort you and I can't. I want to fix it and I can't.
Sneaky.
That is from me to you. It's a sincere hug, but I don't do fake hugs because I only hug you if I'm like, I really have to like you to hug you. But yeah, I feel like we're ending on the darkest one because new power exchange, you're excited, you're in your power exchange, you've negotiated, if you're the type that writes things down or does contracts, you got a shiny new little contract over there, you want to frame it, you want to run out to all your kink friends and go, look what we're doing, you know, like I get it, and it's exciting, and it should be exciting, and before you can even get out of new relationship energy and into old relationship energy, you hit a landmine. Your partner's triggered. You're triggered. A bad tape, a memory, a thing that you told yourself, I'm fucking over that. That was that motherfucker. And I like this motherfucker, so it doesn't matter. It's fine, right? And then it hits, and then doubts creep in. And then the not wanting to talk about it might creep in. And then the what's wrong with me will creep in. Nothing's fucking wrong with you. You went through some shit, and you're remembering that. And you haven't had enough time or experience or professional help or whatever it might be that you need to move through that feeling. Again, I don't think there's a getting over anything. It's a through, right? And I can know and tell you right in this second, angry loud voices can be triggering for me, and I can know that logically, and and JB can know it and can do his best to avoid that kind of thing. And it can still happen. Now, do I recover a little quicker now than I did 5 years ago? Yeah. I'm more self-aware. I got better tools, whatever. But there's no getting over that. His bad tapes do not crop up near as much at this point.
No.
But they can still happen because you'll find yourself in a situation that you didn't anticipate that you'd be in.
True.
But because we've had enough experience with one another, and me help, lovingly bullying him through his bad tapes, submissively, of course, he can work through it a little faster because we've kind of got we say this a lot, we've got a shorthand with one another. I'll say something like, that sounds like a bad tape. Sometimes I'll just quietly and with not any attitude go, this isn't that time, that moment, that person. And it can sometimes be enough to jolt him. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm back to you. And it's a form of communication that we've developed. It's a form of conflict management that we've developed. Mm-hmm. It's a way we support one another without fully trying to like take on each other's traumas and burdens and bad memories, trying to fight each other's battles, because we can't. No. I can't make his memories go away. We can't give each other better childhoods. That ship has sailed. So we just support one another through it. But if we weren't aware that it could happen, like, it can come as a surprise, especially if you're in a situation where your partner's triggered or it's a bad tape or it's a landmine, pick a word, right? And they seem to be somebody you don't recognize in that moment. That can be hard to deal with. And that's a thing that you'll have to work through yourself while they're working through. And sometimes you can do that together. Sometimes you see a side of a person you didn't know existed and you got to make decisions. But, you know, in mostly strong, mostly good, mostly healthy power exchange relationships, you can sometimes lean into your dynamic to work through it. And sometimes you put that shit on the shelf for 30 seconds and just deal with the human being in front of you. But you can grow stronger together through those times as long as you do your best to be open and understanding and keep the lines of communication.
Open and understanding and support one another.
Right.
Yep.
So we talked today about frenzy, drop, assumptions, and bad tapes. And next time you hear one of us refer to bad tapes, you'll know what the fuck we're talking about. Right. We do get a lot of people who come in like these days when we're in the 400s, and they're like, what the hell is bad tapes? And I don't mind explaining it to somebody, because I think it's a really useful way of looking at that stuff. You know, if you've ever had this person reminds me of that partner kind of moment, and they aren't really like that, but you're having that moment, that's a bad tape. Mm-hmm. Sometimes our picker is bad and we pick a carbon copy of the shitty one we just had. I've gone on different rants and different episodes about that. That's a different conversation. Sometimes it's just a memory. Mm-hmm. So, we started out real rough, but I feel like we got there in the end.
I think we did. I think we got over that.
Yeah. Turbulence. It was turbulence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Lola.
There's always a little, sometimes on takeoff, there's always a little.
Takeoff and landing are the two parts I hate the most. Also flying over the Rocky Mountains.
Haven't done that yet.
Don't recommend.
Okay. No.
Anyway, we're going to go into a bonus section.
Okay. So are we good?
I don't know. Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I tell you what I want to tell you and talk to the crickets?
Go ahead. Tell me what you want to tell me.
I had to look at you and stop my own breathing and almost sigh so we could breathe together so we could get that shit right. Hi, y'all. Oh, my God.
Didn't like it the way it ended last week, huh?
See, I feel like we ended that way last week, and it just kept on going through the beginning of this one this week. Yeah, X is he loves flying over the Rockies.
Well, I don't know. He's got it in the.
I know, and I'm gonna take him at his word. He'll tell me if he's being sarcastic. I liked going to places over the Rockies from where I'm located. But that was the first time I was thankfully with somebody. I was with my aunt, and we held hands, and I, who don't believe in like a God, higher power kind of thing, was like, well, I'll talk to the universe, and maybe the universe is listening, because call it prayer if you want, but I gotta ask somebody to get us through this. I personally just never experienced turbulence that bad. Now, a frequent flyer might have gone, oh, that was mild compared to. Don't tell me that, because I'll never get on another plane again, because that was the worst turbulence I'd ever experienced. And I was terrified. Now, I, as an overly anxious human being, not always a great flyer. I'm fine once we're in the air. I really am. Flown over the Atlantic how many times now? Fine. But if it gets bumpy or noisier than normal, that's it. I'm broken out into a full body sweat. full body sweat. Oh God, nope. Nope. And yet, now I will respect it's dark and people are trying to sleep thing, but I get a window seat every chance I get. I like having the window thing up. Mm-hmm. Unless we're flying in a direction where the full force of the sun is coming in and we're all baking, then I'll put that shit down. I like looking out. Mm-hmm. I hate heights. I needed to go up to the second step of a step stool the other day in the garage and almost started crying. So, yeah, I can tell you why. But, I do not like heights at all. Mm-hmm. But in an airplane, somehow I've convinced myself that I feel safer there than anywhere else. And I don't know how that's possible, but whatever. And I like to look out and look at all of like the fields that look like little teeny tiny postage stamps and the cars that if you can even see them depending on where you're at.
Looks like dioramas.
Yeah, I fucking love that shit. Okay, so we had to change the light out in our garage because it's our shop and the thing had busted and we were like, let's put a new light in. It's old as shit, ballast, fluorescent, blah, blah, blah. We changed the light out. But it's like on the ceiling in the garage. In the center of the fucking garage. I don't like getting on ladders. I don't feel stable. I know that how easily I trip when both of my feet are flat on the ground. I don't trust myself higher up. And because it was in the center of the room, there was no like wall to lean against. There was nothing like if I started falling, I could like fling myself towards the wall and catch myself. We were in the middle of the room, and if I, as klutzy as I am, managed to topple the stepladder, and I don't put it past myself to somehow find a fucked up way to do that. I was going either straight forward over this bench with like, there was the utility knife and the putty knives and the really sharp scissors. And I was like, oh my God. Or I was going back straight into the AC blah blah thing and the smoker that lives in the garage. And I was like, either way, I'm going to a hospital. So it was it was not like a little baby inside the house stepladder. It was like a big kid stepladder. I wasn't even on the top step, but we went up just to the second step. I could envision falling, put my hand on the ceiling, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't do anything because one hand had to stay on the ceiling because somehow that was going to keep me from falling. And that just left one hand. I went, I don't think I can do this. And he was like, get off the damn step stool. Okay. Right. I mean, I almost sweated through my shirt. I got so nervous. But
we got it done.
We did get it done. Yep. Did you have to do all of the work and twist yourself into like weird contortions and get ceiling dust in your eyeballs? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was not one bit of fucking help on that one. I was moral support only. Now, every time anybody gets on a ladder, I get nervous. Now, why? I don't know. I've never seen anybody fall off of one. Everybody in my life that around formative years who would get on a ladder was very safe. My dad taught me ladder safety. I think that was the problem. Teaching me ladder safety meant he had to teach me what could go wrong. And so all I envision now is what can go wrong. So while JB was on the ladder, not even all the way up, like he didn't need to go. I've seen him stand on the very tippy top, like you're not supposed to do. He didn't have to go that high. He was up. But he was having to bend kind of backwards and tilt his head back and get up the ceiling. It was all awkward. And so I would stand there and watch him and go, does he need anything? And then I go, okay, if he falls that way, fling your body and try to like break his fall. I was planning. I wasn't planning your demise, but I was planning for the eventuality that it might happen and what I could maybe do to prevent it. And now you have yet another example of what happens in my brain. You're welcome.
There's my sigh for that one.
Silence said, I don't even like going up the attic steps ladder thing. No, you couldn't. Nope, I won't go up that thing. That thing sounds like it's falling apart the first step you take. I hate the attic pull down. Nope. Last Christmas season, was it?
Mm-hmm.
We had the oldest help us.
Yeah.
Because the oldest is very slender, very light, and he can fit in tight spaces. So we were like, you, and JB was still dealing with like your back or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're like, you get that stuff up into the attic, because this is where Christmas stuff lives. And somehow I was a little less nervous for him. Is Miss Lola going to start again? Please don't. Please let us be done first. But yeah, no, I don't do that. You couldn't pay me to go in the attic anyway. First of all, I'm sure something's crawling around up there. It might just be a bug, but this is Florida. Our bugs get huge, and most of them fly. Two, is Florida right now, this time of year, too fucking hot. Like, even when we got like our AC done a couple years ago, the only time they would go up to like do the ductwork was like
early in the morning.
7 o'clock in the morning, and even then it was already crazy hot.
I mean, the attics down here can very easily get up to 120, 130 degrees.
Yeah, it's not safe at certain times of the year, times of the day.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, no, I'm not getting on the ladder.
Nope.
For that brief window of time where I was fully single, living on my own with just the kids, I had a baby step stool that was one step. That I think we might still have it.
It's out in the shop.
Right. That one I could do. Only that one. It takes you, what, like 8 inches off the ground, if that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That one. Now, did it have to be right next to a wall so I could brace myself? Yes. Yes, it did. Just saying. Oh, God, palmetto bugs are...
Yeah.
Oh, they're so... That's the big flying bugs that Florida gets.
Mm-hmm.
They... Oh, God. And if they're carrying their babies with them... I don't know what's worse. The spider with her babies on her, or the palmetto bug with its babies on. I think it's the palmetto bug, because that fucker flies. That fucker flies. Oh. How? Why do I keep saying I'm a Florida girl and I want to live here?
Oh, you tell me. I mean,
I know. Well, at this point, sucks to suck. We're here while the oldest goes to college in this state. I would not move out of Florida right now with him still in college and needing us. Like, no. I'm here.
He needs us too much right now. I was thinking, as much as it's sometimes a hassle to drive to Gainesville, at least we have a back road we can take that's pretty open. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, this would... Lola agrees. Mm-hmm. But I'm grateful that, he didn't go to Tampa.
I know that would suck for the drive. That would suck for the drive. He would have just had to like get used to everything being delivered to his ass. He got his financial aid package from the school for the fall semester. Fully covers his tuition, covers his rent, covers like 90% of his bills. So he has extra money on top of that, and he put some in savings. But he's like, I need a desktop. My laptop is from when I was a freshman in high school, and it was a cheapie then, so this is not doing what I need it to do for school. And he called me, and he was like, I actually am asking for your opinion. I want to know what you think, which, clear communication. Usually he does not actually want to know what I think. I am his mother. Sometimes I will shoehorn in an opinion, but most of the time I wait for him to ask. And he did. He was like, do you think this is a good decision? And I was like, yes, and here's what I think, blah, blah, blah. And he rejected the one thing I said he should probably do. That's fine. He's a grown-ass adult. But he had it shipped to us because it's coming in a big box, and he's off at class most days in his apartment complex. We've been on alert all day. It's supposed to arrive today and needs a signature. And it's a whole family affair. So it was supposed to arrive between 3 and 5. And I was like, nothing we have
ever arrives that time.
Yeah, no, it's usually between like 6 and 8, sometimes as late as 9. So the whole family, this has been a team operation. We are streaming and recording and doing our thing tonight. Mm-hmm. So the youngest has his bedroom curtains open so he can watch the street. So if a delivery truck stops anywhere near our house, his job is to text me, because please do not get it twisted. That child is not going to answer the doorbell and sign his name. Okay. I would barely do it. that's why I have a daddy dom. So we've been on the alert waiting for my text message to go off. It has not so far. That tells me that either he forgot to look out his window or they have not arrived yet. But then we will sign for it tonight or collect it tomorrow if they do that thing where they pretend to knock and didn't and just leave the sticker.
No sticker.
Okay.
That's what I just went
Okay. I mean, our UPS, I love our UPS people and also feel really bad for them. Sometimes they're still delivering at 9 o'clock in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's possible it could come that late. But then we will carry it to the oldest tomorrow because he has a concert. And this concert is the one we learned last year is the longest of the year because it's both big bands playing. He is in the second big band that plays, but it's both. And so we're going to go to that concert. We're going to go to his performances this year because we're close enough we can. We also decided we're taking Friday off. What's wrong? Oh my gosh, did she hurt herself?
That little spot on top of her head.
Did it come open?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, she doesn't look like she's in distress.
No.
Podcast listeners, y'all don't... I'm so sorry. And YouTube folks, all you can see is me looking worried. Lola has a little spot on her head that opened up. I won't go into details. It's not gross, but some people are squeamish. She's not in distress.
No.
I bet it's from all her rubbing her head on her cot. I believe we are more distressed than she is.
Right.
She's
doing this on my leg because she wants pets.
She would like your attention, please. So, yes, we're going to a concert Thursday night. I will probably work Friday, but nobody is getting up with an alarm Friday. Because it'll easily be midnight before we even rock back up to the house.
Last year, the first time we went, we had no idea what to expect. We got home so late, and I still tried to get up and work the next day. I was miserable.
So here's what's funny. I get the concert schedule because I know where to go and not wait for the child to tell me.
Yeah.
And I look and I go, oh shit, the first concert, the September concert, it's both bands. And normally it's not. They have their own concert on their own night, but this first one they do on the same night. And it's a very long concert with like a 30-minute intermission. It's so fucking long. And I'm like, I want us to go. I want to support the kid. I want to get to be a band mom. Like, I want that. And I'm trying to talk to JB, and he's just looking at me with dread. And I'm thinking, am I going to have to go by myself? And I don't like to drive at night anymore. I don't know. And so finally, oh my Lord, Lola's shaking the table. And finally, I came upon the magic words. I said, look, we work for our fucking selves. We have the live stream Friday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, September 20th. But why don't we just not work on Friday? We don't have to wake up early. We just plan our week knowing we won't like be doing anything major on Friday.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay. I was like,
And Silent asked if it was going to affect the hangout on Friday. No, not at all.
No.
You know, Thursday night, as long as we have, you know, as long as we can sleep in the next morning, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I'm excited about going to the concert. I hope we get he hopes we get his desktop.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess we'll carry it to you this weekend if we can't on Thursday. Which, again, it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a drive.
No.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's been us. Yeah. We can't talk about too much, or what are we going to talk about Friday night?
Right.
We'll talk about, when's the last time we talked about pie and our stance on pie? It's been a while. Pie.
Pie.
We have been known multiple times now, but sometimes with a poll, to have the great bacon debate, if you would like to join us for that on Friday. The bacon debate is not Kevin or Frank. It's it's crunchy or chewy.
You mean Francis?
Frank! The moment I said it, I was like, oh, I should have said Sir Bacon, but I was close, and I knew who I meant, and you knew who I meant, so therefore it is clear communication.
Well, you know, I think bacon needs to be kicked to the curb for the time being. You know, we are in the fall season.
Supposedly.
Well, the rest of the country is, except for us. But, you know, there are two big contenders that happen this time of the year.
Okay.
You know, apple pie, pumpkin pie.
Apple.
Well,
Pumpkin
good.
pie spice? Yes. Pumpkin flavored shit? Yeah, you were very lucky. I got sent into Aldi this week in the middle of the week, which we don't usually do. We get our groceries on the weekend. We don't go to the store again. But I had to go. And I walked past the bakery section, and they had pumpkin bread. Now, I'd already had their pumpkin cake roll with the cream cheese filling, which was delicious, by the way. But this was their pumpkin bread in the same vein as banana bread, right? I almost bought it. And then I stopped myself. We didn't need it. It's fine. I had to buy bacon, actually, and avocados instead. But yeah. I like pumpkin pie flavors. I like pumpkin in things. I am not a pumpkin pie girly. It's the texture for me.
Okay.
It's not the flavor's fine. It's the texture. Apple pie, yes.
Okay.
But see, I'm used to. We didn't do this when I was a kid because it was like just a few of us. But then when after my dad died, my mom remarried. She remarried into a very traditional Southern family, which was a culture shock for us because while we are Southern, we were never traditional. Okay, these are the who are your people, what church do you go to kind of Southerners. If you know, you know. And so you didn't just get an apple pie and a pumpkin pie. You got a dessert buffet. And so, yes, pumpkin pie and apple pie and pecan pie and chocolate cake.
That's not a pie.
Pecan pie is delicious. It's also great if you just want a quick sugar high. You got chocolate cake and also a German chocolate cake. There was usually competing chocolate cake. Somebody had brownies. Somebody brought cookies. Sometimes whoever was hosting did all of that. And then other people, yeah. So it's never just been a choice for me between the pumpkin and the apple. No. Anyway.
Anywho, yeah.
All of that.
So,
we can do the great pie debate on Friday as well.
And Silent, yeah, we can't talk about everything tonight, but we started the debate and we will end it Friday.
No, it'll
Probably
just be
not.
around 55 or something. Right. Certain debates just are ongoing and can never be fully solved.
True. That's true.
Except the bacon one, because the last time we debated that, I won, and I knew I was right. Crunchy is the superior bacon. Anyway.
Anywho.
We'll talk about that on Friday, probably,
Yeah.
except if we forget.
Right.
And we find something else to talk about. So with that, if you somehow manage to stick around to this bitter end, we appreciate you more than you know. This is going to be one of those episodes I walk away going, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Pick a that, any that.
Any that, yeah.
So yeah, thanks. Okay. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. We will hopefully talk to you on Friday. If not, we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.